really from there, I mean, it just blossomed. I found that there is sustainable growth because in the next 20 to 30, 40 years, this is the baby boomer era, the generational wealth transfer that's going to happen. It just changed it for a lot of people to say, no, wait, it's not that we can't do it. Yes, we can do it. There's just endless possibilities with it. This is only getting started, Ari.
Hello and welcome. Thank you all for joining us at the Thrive and Prosper Fund and Grow podcast. So, today we have a very special guest, and I'm very excited to have the probate king on, Al Nicoletti. So, Al, thank you so much for joining us today.
Ari, thank you so much. I love being on these podcasts and I love being on this podcast with you. So I'm excited to dive deep on this messy world.
Yes. So, let's jump right into that. And for listeners who may not be familiar with your work, let them know, what do you do and what type of clients do you serve?
So Ari, I'm a Florida attorney and I'm mainly in the real estate probate niche. So I handle a lot of deals for investors when they come across a seller that owns a piece of property, they want to sell the property, but they find out either from the seller or through the title company that they can't sell the property until a probate is done, or we find out that there's a more messy title situation that has to happen. So I come in on my legal side, on my attorney end, and we dissect the deal. We dive deep on the deal to try to see how can it be solved, and if it can be solved, what do we need to do? Who do we need to get? And I've worked with, I can't even tell you how many investors on deals to get this across the finish line. And to date, we've done over 2,500 probates to help investors on getting these deals to the finish line. And I can tell you, this has definitely been the most interesting niche that I've seen. And a lot of investors love it because of the sizable spreads and opportunities that are behind it. So, my niche is this in the probate and messy world, and investors love having the opportunity that they can have a resource behind them to say, hey, can we do these deals and get them done?
So, curious, as an attorney, you there's like so many different areas that you could focus on. How did you end up to decide to focus on probate and like this real estate related legal work, considering all of the different things? Because I know it's a very messy process, but it seems like there's probably a lot of money in it as well.
Yeah, so when I was in law school, I actually did an internship at the public defender's office. So I saw the criminal law world. And it was very interesting. It wasn't really my realm. I did love the trial stuff and being in the courtroom and all that. Like that stuff was really intriguing. But I really wanted to see what else was out there. And when I was taking the bar exam, I really enjoyed learning what real property was, the real estate side of it, because there were so many things in law school. It came and went. Like you didn't really learn that much in school. Like you learned it when sitting for the bar and like in real life practice. And so I thought there was an interesting thing there. And I remember I back in school I had a mentor and he was an attorney for 30, 40 years. And so after school, I joined his firm to kind of get my feet wet. And he did a lot of foreclosure defense. And with foreclosures, you kind of dip your feet into probate and messy title world. And I did that for about like 2 years, and I kind of saw what was going on. And then eventually, I had my best friend from law school told me, he was like, "Hey, you want to come to Jacksonville? And we got a thriving practice over here. We'd love to have you on so we can do stuff in this world." And so from there was this catalyst of opportunity where I saw this opportunity where there are just thousands of people that are have property that is stuck in limbo because they had somebody that owned it, they died, and there was really no solution behind it. And when you see that there's an opportunity behind something where you can offer a unique solution and then help solve their problem, I saw this like high volume system and business in my mind. And so I went heavy into probate. I went heavy into messy deals. And really from there, I mean, it just blossomed. And there's just endless possibilities with it. And I love the business model behind it. I love the law side behind it. I'm always intrigued by the inheritance side of it, and I'm always intrigued by what the real estate side of it. And yeah, there's a lot of deals, and sometimes the money isn't there, but there's also a lot of deals where there's a lot of opportunity. And so I just saw that blue ocean and I really went with it and I stuck with it. And my philosophy with things is I want to find something that's going to be long term and sustainable. And so with this, I found that there is sustainable growth because in the next 20 to 30, 40 years, this is the baby boomer era, the generational wealth transfer that's going to happen. And so this is not a niche that I was going to pick up and okay, I'm going to pivot and change. Like this was going to be something that was going to be like for my career. So I wanted to find that was going to last long. And this is only getting started, Ari. Like this is the most interesting time that we live in where we have a massive baby boomer era that has property and that there's going to be a massive transfer of wealth to those heirs and how many different properties that are out there, land development, building. I mean, there's just so many. So I just that's a lot of what went through my mind when really getting into this niche about finding out like I wanted to be in this, I wanted to do this and make it a career.
Yeah, I agree. There's going to be a massive generational wealth transfer from those boomers, and it's going to be messy. There's going to be. I don't think any of them go through without being messy, right? There's always a lot of back and forth, and family members ready to pick each other apart, and so that which is, I guess, why you now are the probate king. But
Well, I think for a lot of investors before and it just seems that this is what's happened before I got into this industry, a lot of investors here didn't really want to touch probates. They didn't want to get into it because there was always this preconceived notion that it was going to take forever, like a year, 2 years. That it was complicated. They weren't going to be able to get it across, and there's a lot of people that passed off deals. And once it seems like once I came into this industry and found a rhythm and a system and a pattern, and it just changed it for a lot of people to say, no, wait, it's not that we can't do it. Yes, we can do it. And so being able to have that solution mindset to being able to solve messy deals was a huge it bridged the gap in this world of investors getting deals, and they were able to get over that hurdle and get over that fear and being able to say no, yeah, let's go after this. So for me it's a matter of I like and love that solution to helping people get these deals solved.
yeah, I love that. So, other than probate, what are some of the other services that your firm offers?
So we've really expanded my practice in the last a couple months. So probate's obviously always going to be number one, but what we've delved into is a lot more of the curative world, the curative title world, where there's messy deals where it's not necessarily a probate, but maybe the title company saying, "Hey, we can't really close your deal yet because there's a lot of issues in the back chain of title that was done in 1980, 1970 that was never cleared up, never fixed out. And so, in order for us to ensure your title, you're going to need to do what's called a quiet title or a lawsuit to cure any issues in that title that can solve it so we can get it to the closing table. So like that's another service that we've been doing. Or a lot of investors run into a deal where there's a minor, and we know minors can't sign the contracts. So how do you overcome that? And what we're doing now are guardianships, which is where we can get somebody in the family or the parent appointed so they can represent the child's behalf, so that if there's a transaction involved, there's a way that we can get that across the finish line through another court proceeding. So it's being able to solve messy things where you have things with minors and kids and trying to get the deal solved. Or like another one, Ari, that is popular. You find a probate, but then it's not just a probate, there's a squatter in the property. Or
Mm,
there's somebody in the property that is not leaving because maybe they're on a lease, or there's some kind of eviction that needs to be done. So we've really merge those worlds too, because that's when you get into messy, you get into all of this stuff too. It's like kind of the gateway into our world of all these other things that pop up. So dealing with squatters, dealing with tenants and evictions, or the more popular one too that some of the investors in the curative world have really piqued their interest is when you have a situation where you can't get everybody on the contract, you can't get all the people to agree, and some want to sell and some don't want to sell. And so many investors would have left that kind of deal and said, we don't want to handle that. We don't want to do that. Instead, we have mechanisms where if one wants to sell, the other doesn't want to sell, we can actually file a lawsuit and it will push the property to a private listing or an auction. It like forces the sale so that there's a means to an end and a solution to a problem. So we're getting into all of these things that surround solutions to deals getting solved, and that it's been a huge thing. And even another one, working with private lenders that may have a deal where they've got a loan out and it's not been paid, and we have to do some kind of foreclosure proceeding, or on the plaintiff side, or maybe it's stalling an auction on the defense side. So our world is very unique to the title solving and the title fixing that helps the investors so they can pick up more deals and not leave the money on the table.
Yeah, that's a lot. Clearly, it's a very complicated world that you're in, and people need help to be able to. Investors, they need help to be able to do this. Obviously, you're not going to go to court on your own and do this. But before we move forward, could you drop your contact information? I know probably a lot of people are thinking that they're going to want to work with you. So, but let's not make them wait till the end. Just go ahead and drop. What's the best way that they can work with you? Your website, your phone number, or however you do that.
Yeah, I would just tell people, just give us a call. So my number is 904-999-0053. And when you call, just leave a detailed voicemail and we'll get back to you. And then that's the best way. If you want to shoot us an email, it's Al, my first name, Al, at alnicoletti.com. And you can just shoot me an email too. We can connect, do an intro call, whatever works best. But yeah, thank you for that, Ari. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm curious from your perspective, doing so many of these deals, what have you found that separates the successful investors from those who are just struggling when dealing with probate and they just don't know what to do?
Well, I think the first thing is asking for the help and guidance and direction. Like, where do we go? And I think some don't ask that, right? Like some are just like, hey, like there's no roadmap, there's no game plan. And so that's one of the biggest hurdles, is being able to say, hey, like I got a deal. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do, or it's something that's messy like this. Like, what's our next step? What's our action step for this, right? I think another big thing that separates the people that are getting these deals solved versus not is understanding how to put the family trees together. That's big. That's been a big thing lately too. Is like being able to understand, like, who are you looking for? Like, maybe the tree gets so deep that we're getting to cousins and aunts and uncles. Like understanding like how to put that together and who to look for and build that out is a key component. Another one is just being able to do the proper due diligence with title. I think what happens is investors find a deal, they immediately think it's gonna need probate, or maybe the seller's telling them this whole story. But for me, it always goes back to, and I'm sure you have the same thing in your business. Anytime you hear a whole bunch of these things in a hypothetical, it brings you back to your systems, your process, and your basic building blocks to being able to move forward. And for these deals, it's what is the title company's underwriter saying? What are they telling you that needs to be done to close the deal? No assuming, no guessing based off what's online. Like if you're locked up in a deal with a seller, what is the title company saying that needs to be done? I love seeing that. Everybody loves seeing that, because that's the real roadmap. Like we all want a roadmap to being able to have that success and being able to get to that point. Those are key roadmaps to being able to say, what do we need to do? And so that's of course one of the biggest ones. And I'll throw one more out there, Ari, which is running your numbers. Not every deal that you pick up is going to be a great deal numbers wise. Like it may be a straightforward deal where you got the person died, there's no will, there's just a spouse, there's no kids, and all you need is a spouse. But then you run the numbers and you find out that the margins are like very small, like too small to like do a probate, close the deal. And it's like if you're not running your numbers, it's harming the whole transaction because it sounds great to do it. It sounds great to do the hypothetical, but your numbers have to be there. So being able to really track those numbers and do your due diligence with title and making sure that there's nothing else popping up, and you're not going to run into environmental issues or lien issues. And I think that just the due diligence is so important behind this.
Yeah, I agree. So from your experience, what's the biggest legal or probate mistakes that you're seeing investors make, and what should they be doing differently?
Well, I think it really kind of goes back to some of those things right there. It's like I think that the investors would do really well with being able to get the due diligence in place first, being able to run your numbers, run your comps, understand your market, understand where the market is or where the market's going, and also making sure that you got the right people under contract. Sometimes you'll find a deal where you'll get sellers and it's great, they're ready to sell, but it's like, do you really have the right people? Like, do you have everybody that you need? And you got to make sure that you have the exact people that you need for these contracts, and making sure you got the title lined up, making sure that there's nothing else that's going to have to be resolved, because the mistakes that are made are really the fundamental mistakes behind a deal. One, making sure there's money involved. Two, making sure that there's nothing else on title that's going to pop up that's going to kill your deal. Three, making sure you have all of the right people under contract. And then there's so many others that I can think of. Like, doing your due diligence is got to be the biggest one, though. Like, that there's no outstanding lien issues, there's nothing else, and making sure also that if you're doing something on a double close, or you got a deal that you're not really keeping or signing, that you have potential buyers in place for it. You're not just picking up a deal and then that's it. You have buyers that want to buy the property. So the mistakes I see investors make are just some of the same common ones that are the same over and over, just like that.
Yeah. So let's switch gears for just a second, because you've been running your own business for quite some time now.
Mhm.
So from a mindset and leadership perspective, how do you and your other partners balance the risk management as attorneys with growth and opportunity as also being entrepreneurs?
Well, I think there's definitely has to always be an assessment of where are we at in terms of lead gen, where are we at in terms of volume, also, bandwidth, and because you have to run a balance. Like, the more we've grown, that means more hands that we're going to need to be on projects, and that means more training, that means more delegating, that means more moving people more into the right roles, and so what we do is say, okay, we'll take on the leads. You got a deal that needs probate, you got deals that need messy situations. We're ready for the leads. On our end, on the business end, we're always analyzing where that bandwidth is, because if any point we're seeing that the bandwidth is getting to that point, we're ready to make that next move and keep scaling the business. And I will tell you, Ari, we're about to go into year 5 in my law firm, which is crazy to say because, like, it feels like I just started it yesterday. And I'm sure for you, you probably think about things about like, wait, we started this company how many years ago? And so it it's very rewarding and unique to being able to look back and say, how many changes did we make over that period of time? How many different tweaks did we make? And it's so great to see that along the way, you have to make fast decisions. You have to make quick decisions in your business, and you have to pivot fast if you're not going one way, because this business goes really fast and you want to make sure it's on the right path to success. And it's great to know that every decision, every step of the way has made a path forward for us to being able to now. I have 3 attorneys under me. I have a total of what is it, 10 10 people total with me. And so the growth is only a result, and part of it has to do with the decisions that are made on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, to be able to put my firm in that position. So it's a lot of different things I'm always thinking about of what can we do better? Where are we going to go market more? What do we need to put more of uh, a reliance on with one team member versus other team members, and try to move things around, move pieces around. It's definitely a lot going on at once.
Yeah, and a critical thing you said there is being able to pivot quickly. I know that over the last couple years, so many businesses have really struggled with changing regulations, with the economy, and the ability to pivot quickly. I know for myself personally, that's absolutely huge because without that, your business could die. You're not going to be running a business for a decade, 2 decades without being able to be that versatile and to be able to change something that's not working and recognize that it's not working and not just keep doing the same thing over and over expecting better results. So
Yeah.
so from a mindset standpoint, what, like, for you personally, what do you have habits or routines that you do that help you stay focused? Because there's so many things going on in your firm, you're managing so many people that you got to have a lot of gold there for us.
Oh, well, in terms of, and that's changed a lot too. Like I could tell you stories where my routine and my schedule has changed dramatically. I mean, it used to be where I was up until 4 in the morning, doing stuff, and that's not anymore. I'm up early, and it's also a matter of going to the gym. I mean, gym time is really important too, like, to clear your mind, do your thing, and just kind of just get reset for the day. And I also think that what's really important too for entrepreneurs and business owners is time blocking, is really utilizing that calendar to show that you're out at this time. Now you're ready for consults at this time. Also, you need to review cases at this time. So there's a lot of planning and structure in my mind about planning out my weeks and planning out my days, and being able to also have your time so you can get reset too. I really believe in that, is taking those steps to reset that mind so you can be fresh and focused, continuing. And when I'm in a rhythm, I'm always a machine. Like, I don't stop. Like, I'm dialed in. Like, I'm ready to go with all of my processes, and making sure that I stay to that plan. I stick to that plan week by week. I also make sure to meet with my team and talk to them about how are they doing, how are things working, what things do we need to improve on. Because I also notice when I'm able to communicate more with my team on their processes and their efficiencies, it makes myself more efficient as well. And then therefore we're not running into the same things over and over again. And I'll tell you, I think one of our biggest things, and we've been able to do, is our end of year meetings have been more efficient and more productive than ever before, because it really sets the tone for the rest of the year. Like, it's so important that it's great to have the rewarding and the positive and the feedback to the team, but it's also really good to have the hard conversations, because it's the hard conversations that really help set that tone for the year, so that therefore we're right back into gear. We're more efficient than ever. We have to focus on more of this. And then that helps you as the leader, because that means now, how do we even make this grow more? Like, what do I need to do on my end to make myself more efficient, dial in on my process more? And so, is it perfect, Ari? No, it is not perfect. Are there some days that are just different than others? Everybody's got them. But if you can come up with the game plan yourself, because it always starts with you. You set the whole thing and the tone for the whole day, and for everybody in the business. So if you can set your calendar and you can set your schedule and your life, that is going to translate to your team's success.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. So, from a avoiding problems standpoint, what should investors or entrepreneurs do to mitigate messy situations before they even happen, to be able to position themselves for probate in the future, or just to help them before they ever get into a situation like that?
Are we talking about them personally or for them finding the deals?
I would say for an investor or entrepreneur personally.
Well, one of the things you could do, if it's you that's trying to protect yourself so that your family's not going through it, it's going through the estate planning process. So you definitely want to work with an estate planning attorney that can think through, how do you avoid this? Is it a trust? Is it doing an LLC? Is it doing is it maybe just simply titling your properties a certain way? But if you're an investor that has a large portfolio of properties, you're probably looking at more of doing a trust or some kind of mechanism so everything's kind of set for estate planning purposes. And that's a big component behind it. It's funny, I get that a lot too at some of the speaking seminars, Ari. I'll go talk about probate to investors and how you get deals, how do you crush these deals? And then when I tell everybody about like the crazy side to it, there's always one or two that'll go, "Wait, how do I protect myself from this?" Right? Like I don't want to go through this. So estate planning is definitely the key. And what happens is estate planning ends up being like a want industry and not a need industry. And our title world is more of the need industry because everybody needs to get it done. And so the want industry, they put it off and put it off and put it off. And so in a want industry, if you really, really want to take care of it, you need to take care of it right away. So that's the best recommendation. If you have if you're concerned about that, you need to tackle the estate planning side.
Yes, so people should definitely talk to you about that. And then let's talk about the investor side, finding those types of deals.
Anything distressed. So in our world of messy and probate, think any distress leads, pre foreclosures, pre probates, tax delinquencies, code violations, absentee owners, fire damaged properties. I mean, these are just like the ones that are out there all the time you see with lead sources. Like these are the ones that somebody owned the property, they forgot to pay, they can't pay, or they're dead. And so there's so many of them where it's a fire damaged property, and then the family, the person that was in it didn't take care of it, and over time they passed, and the property is just still sitting in disrepair. And that could overlap with a code violation because the code enforcement may be coming around saying like this is a blight to the community. So like there may be overlaps with lead sources, but the most common are of course the tax delinquencies and the pre-foreclosures because somebody's got a loan and they just forgot to pay, they can't pay their debt, or somebody's got to pay the property taxes, they forgot to pay, they can't pay their debt, and so there's distress all the way around. And these are endless leads. These are endless. Like they're just they don't stop. Like there are a lot. It's just our world. It's like there's people out there that are just not going to be able to pay their mortgage, not going to be able to pay their back taxes, not going to keep up their grass and their maintenance in their yard. And so it's going to look like a forest. And so it's going to be a code violation issue. They're not going to pick up the garbage. They're not going to clean up the yard. So there's all these situations, no matter what part of Florida we see it in.
Yeah, and with the market the way that it is, I think that we're going to be seeing a wave of foreclosures. And of course, for some people, that might be hitting them right at the time where they may be going through probate of some kind. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's just what the market seems like
I,
where
I
where
just
it's headed at the moment.
I just think a wave of all of it, right? Like it's going to be a wave of all of this kind of stuff that's just going to keep hitting. Like I see it every day, like the amount that keeps happening, it's like it's just not gonna stop, and there's no way it's gonna slow down. It's gonna be even more, especially with the baby boomer era that's gonna keep on coming. It's like the and think about this too. All of the people that moved from California to Florida or New York to Florida or to all these other states. I mean, maybe not necessarily in Florida, but to Tennessee and Texas, like the amount of people that are just buying up property, buying up land and lots and houses, like this is not going to stop.
Yeah. So this has been really great. And if people want to hear more of your educational content, what do you have any podcasts or educational resources that we could give out?
Sure, Ari. So I'm all over Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Like you can find me anywhere. online. So all those places. My YouTube channel, you just type my name in, Al Nicoletti. You'll see all the videos, shorts, all that that's there. And then I have my website. You can find all my info that's on there. And then if people really want to get in touch with our office, just you can either call us at the 904-999-0053 number, or you can shoot me an email at al@alnicoletti.com. And the content is out there. And I also have a podcast. We're going to have Ari on the show. It's called the Al Nicoletti Show. We bring on investors, developers, people that are marketing and branding and Airbnbs and commercial property that really provide value and dive deep on how people can get through deals and solve them and case studies. And people love seeing the value behind the opportunity in this market. So definitely check that out. It's on iTunes, Spotify, and you can find it on YouTube as well.
I love it. Well, guys, as you can see, Al is the real deal. That's why they call him the probate king. So I want to encourage everyone, go ahead and reach out to Al and get set up. Call that number, leave a voicemail. You don't know what you don't know. So getting a review and getting all of your situation looked at and perhaps getting some estate planning in place, maybe getting a trust set up, an entity set up, that's something that could save you big time in the future and make it easier for your family and keep things from being so messy. So I really want to encourage everyone to do that. And Al, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today on the podcast. I really appreciate you.
No, Ari, thank you for having me on. Thanks for the opportunity. And I hope everybody gets a lot of value from that today.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us.